Hello and welcome along to highlights of Stage 2 of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under 2026, the opening race of the Women's World Tour this year. We began on the outskirts of Adelaide, heading up into the hills, beginning with a 10-kilometre climb. We then had an intermediate sprint, followed by our next categorised climb, another second category climb. Quickly after that, another intermediate sprint before laps of our finishing circuit up to the finish line, which was itself a categorised climb 3 times. 130.7 kilometres of racing, 2 intermediate sprints, 5 categorised climbs, and more than 2,400 metres of climbing for the riders today. Getting underway with race director Stewie O'Grady there. And attacks right from the off with Team Visma Lisa Bike really keen to get things going today. It was a 10-kilometre opening climb to start the stage. Paola Blasi took maximum points at the start of that climb. Plenty of attacks later on. And it was young rider Wilma Antila of Canyon SRAM Zondercrypto that was to go clear. Rider number 21 there in the blue and black kit. Just under 100 kilometres to go. Bit of a lull in pace from the peloton behind, so her gap went up to 1.5 minutes. She took first place in the intermediate sprint. Behind, it was tightly fought, though, for second place on the line, with yesterday's stage winner Ali Wollaston taking that position. On the next climb, struggling with a little bit of an issue with the chain here. Didn't hold her up too much. She was able to get back going as she rode through the feed zone on this climb. The gap was still near the 1.5 minute mark, as the neutral service car just came out of that gap. Still work to do to get to the finish. More than 57 kilometres to go at this point, but absolutely no company. She went over the next categorised climb solo, taking maximum points there. And behind, we did have a hotly contested sprint for the line, won by Paola Blasi of UAE Team ADQ. No doubt about maximum points on the line for our breakaway rider. But again, tightly fought behind in the intermediate sprint. Ali Wollaston taking the maximum remaining available points and second. We were all back together. It was Soraya Paladin had to withdraw from the race, unfortunately, just shaking her head at the feed zone. Not meant to be her day today. Back with the peloton inside the final 30k, and more attacks were going, and it was our best young rider, Justina Schappeler of Canyon SRAM Zondercrypto, kicking things off again. The whole Canyon SRAM team racing very aggressively today. So we came over the line with 24k to go. Paola Blasi taking maximum points for the Queen of the Mountains jersey competition, just edging ahead of Alessia Vigilier there, who was in the green Queen of the Mountains jersey coming into today's stage. Another attack from our best young rider in that white jersey inside the final 23k, and it was a very aggressive last 20k of racing. Livaluna Jaco also very keen to try and get some moves going. Josie Talbot going clear. But ultimately never getting a huge gap on the peloton. That move was brought back by ST Works Pro Time. And we were asking the question of the world champion herself, could she split this race with 1 lap of the race remaining? It was then Spanish time trial champion Maria Benito having a go. She was joined in a very strong breakaway, the likes of Chloe Dygart driving things there, as well as Sarah Van Dam of Team Visma Lisa Bike. But they never had a huge gap over the peloton. Sarah Van Dam attacking the breakaway, going clear briefly, but they were all brought back together inside that final kilometre once again. A nail-biting finale. The world champion herself leading out her teammate Naomi Rueg. And it looks set to be a victory for the rider from EF Education Oatley. But the power of Ali Wollaston coming around the outside, the long way round in the overall leader's jersey to take her second victory here on stage 2 of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. And she could not believe it. Celebrations here, lying on the ground with her teammates. Absolutely fantastic victory there. She came from a long way back. didn't have anybody left to lead her out at this point. So much work from her teammates early on. She did have to go the long way round. Naomi Ruick having the inside line there. Last year's overall winner in the pink jersey with race number 1. But yesterday's stage winner, Ali Wollaston, proving how strong she is this week. More than a bike length in the end for that victory. So Ali Wollaston took the stage win from Naomi Ruick. Josie Nelson in 3rd, another podium for her. Paula Blasi in 4th, Dominika Wlodacek in 5th. And for the overall GC, Ali Wollaston still leads 14 seconds ahead of Josie Nelson and last year's overall winner, Naomi Ruick, in 3rd, 17 seconds back.
Congratulations again, Ali.
And tomorrow, the final stage, 126.5 kilometres for the riders. 3 categorised climbs, the first one coming quite early. 2 intermediate sprints. And we have twice up the corkscrew road, averaging 9.7%, maxing out at 16.2%. It's downhill to the finish, but with 2 very tough stings in the tail.